Welcome everybody to POV Pool. You're watching the USBA 2019 Amateur Championship here at Casino del Sol in Tucson, Arizona. I'm Geraldine and I'm sitting here with Gary Eake, and your feature match now is Mike Miller versus Chuck Evans. We're in the preliminary rounds and they're racing to 20 points. Hi Gary.
Hi Geraldine, how are you today?
Terrific.
All right, glad to hear it.
Did you play already today, or do you play?
No, my next match is about 1:30 or whatever, so I'll be getting ready to play and dressed up shortly after this match is over with. I see that Chuck Evans won the leg, but it was a good leg by Mike Miller.
I saw his practice leg. It was pretty right on.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Chuck Evans a little bit earlier, just by coincidence, and he's from the Phoenix area, and he just started playing again. He's got a group of players. They play at bull shooters, I think is what he said, and so he's getting back into it as after a long absence.
And you're friends with, you play with Mike Miller?
We cross paths quite a bit. He's from northern Wisconsin. I'm from Oshkosh, which is in the central part of the state, but we play in, he goes to Minneapolis quite a bit, and I see him there. The Rushville tournaments, which I ran, he has always been a competitor in the Rushville tournaments, and we've gotten to know each other and become fairly good friends.
Is he better than you?
Well, the last tournament in Minneapolis in November, I beat him in the tournament, but I lost to Ernest Picklesmeyer by 1 point, which put Mike in third place and me in fourth, and Mike $400 and me zero. So, however you want to take that, he got the money and I didn't, but I won the match.
So you guys are pretty even.
Yes, yeah. It's always a dogfight and enjoyable match. Mike has spent a lot of time with Fred Lammers, the very exceptional player from Minneapolis, and Fred's always willing to help anyone and give them good advice and help them improve their game. And Mike's a great student. As you can see on Mike's bio here, that in the Rushville tournaments he's made the finals there several times, and he's always in the hunt, seldom gets rattled. He should be exceptionally calm this event. I see that he brought his wife along, who I've never met before, so I'm sure they're planning on spending some time here in the Phoenix or in the Tucson area after the competition is over.
Ray Raskin, Bernie Pettipiece, table 2. Ray Raskin, Bernie Pettipiece, table 2.
Well, he's starting off a little slow, though.
That they are. That was quite an interesting shot that Mr. Evans just attempted. That was pretty small hole to get into for the last 2 rails. Kind of sold out to Mike here, so Mike should score this point. did score, but he didn't get the position that I think he was hoping for.
What's his average usually?
I would say that Mike's usually in the 0.6, 0.65. He can easily elevate that at any given time or play a little bit below that, but he's usually there or above. So when are you going to start playing billiards, Geraldine?
Ha! When I retire.
Oh, okay. That was a very nice shot.
It's tough to find the leisure time, you know. You work 40 hours a week, and then, you know, I come home and we work on a few more hours of POV Pool in the rest of the day, and finding time to do anything besides eat dinner and, you know.
I'm surprised you can travel as much as you do and having a full-time job. So
Yeah,
so
me
you
too.
work in an insurance or a real estate office, right?
I do marketing for a real estate company, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you work in real estate?
Yes, I do. I have my own commercial and industrial real estate company. But, down to whittled down from 7 employees to a one-man show, and it's kind of a slow time of the year, so this tournament works out well for me.
Yeah.
Nice shot, Mike. So do you do any side jobs for real estate marketing? Maybe I had to.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do graphic work for people.
If he hit it hard enough, I think Mike got it. Missed by hair. So how many of these events does POV Pool do? Not just billiards, but pool and billiards.
I think a few years ago we were doing a lot more, and we decided that that wasn't how we wanted to, you know, the direction we necessarily wanted to go with the company, and so we've scaled back significantly to about probably 20 events a year that we live stream, but we've kind of directed the company more towards doing either commercials or, you know, things that we can go back and edit and post-produce. Gives us more time at home and more time for me to work.
Okay. Now, does Daniel have a full-time job as well?
No, POV Pool is full-time.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Raymond Tower, Vu Nguyen, table 6. Raymond Tower, Vu Nguyen, table 6.
So what do you think of the competition here overall so far?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, we ended up with 60 players for the tournament, but it was slotted for 64. There was a waiting list, but you know, last minute when people decide the day of that they're not coming, they're not playing, you can't really pull from a waiting list. The fact of the matter.
I've had that experience in the Rushville tournaments, running those. So.
But you know, to run an amateur tournament and get 64 players. It's fantastic from
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah. Well, um, Rushville, we had as many as 48 on the list and the waiting list. People love to play as long as you can give them a good event. Unfortunately, Rushville is no longer, but they there's a gentleman, Bob Keller from Madison, is working, and it's not cut and dried yet, but it's highly likely that in Madison we'll be having a tournament to replace that, and it won't be as big. We had 6 tables in Rushville. It looks like we'll have 3 in Madison, but I think we'll have great results. There's many players. It's easy location to get to in the Midwest, and a lot of things to do. Good lodging.
So what happened with Rushville?
No, it was
The billiard room closed.
more or less that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, simply stated, yeah, the owner of the building had other plans, and we would go at that. So. And you can't blame them. To have it there was costing him thousands of dollars a year, and the tournaments paid back a couple of grand to that, but that was can only be so generous.
And how far is Rushville from you?
It's about a 5-hour drive. So. Madison's an hour and a half, so so it'd be a little bit easier to do. So, and Dale, who ran the Nationals, who was the tournament director for the National last year, Dale Saunders, he'll be running the events. Professor Cuball has said if this happens, he's likely to continue to be the primary sponsor or lead sponsor on the Madison tournaments as well. So it has promise.
That's good. And how often do you actually get to play?
Well, I have my own Gabriel's table at home, so every day, unless I'm disgusted with myself, I hit them every day, and then there's some days I just can't even look at the table, of course. But as far as competition, I have to drive to Milwaukee or Minneapolis. For the most part, there's one gentleman from Chicago that also has a home about 45 minutes on a recreational lake up by us, and when he's in town, he'll come over frequently, and he's good competition. We play about even. So Ted Olshansky. So, but other than that, I suffer from lack of competition, but I try to practice hard, but that only goes so far.
Yeah.
You don't experience the joy of getting your head beat in. So.
The pressure of being in competition against somebody. Yeah.
Okay, it looks like Chuck Evans has snuck out ahead of Mike here a little bit.
We've been talking about this. There's a pool room in Sacramento, California, and they put in 1 3-cushion table, and it's been popular, so much so that they started running tournaments, 16-man weekend tournaments on the one table.
How does that work? Races to 5 or what?
I have no clue.
It must be a lot of young people who will play until 2 in the morning or something. The last tournament up in Minneapolis, they only have, at the Minneapolis Billiard Club, they only have 2 tables, and they did a 10-man round robin, which it was very enjoyable, very enjoyable. Got a lot of play, 25-point matches. You could do it all in the weekend. So if you don't have a lot of tables, you can...
There's always something you can do.
And I'm thinking Madison would probably do more tournaments with less players. So Evans is beginning his 9th inning. Oh. Some of the shots I've seen him take so far tells me that he's been a pretty experienced player. And if he hasn't played in 20 or 25 years, he hasn't forgotten too much. So.
What's Mike looking at here?
I think he's going to try to hit the long rail, go to the other long rail, and then come down to the short rail behind the red. That's what he did. Unfortunately, the red left.
Hit the red too early.
With the wrong ball.
Yeah.
And the worst part is he left him a natural. And with great opportunity for position. He left Mr. Evans. I'm sure he was hoping for better position, but for the next shot, but he got was tough to execute, hitting the first object ball and not knocking the red ball out of the way. Ever notice how more often than not billiard players know immediately after the first rail whether they've made the shot or not?
Very nice shot.
Yep, I guarantee you that was one that Freddie probably gave him confidence on. Mike is very good at short angle shots like that. Another short angle.
He's digging himself out of the hole.
That he is. I can't see. Does Mr. Evans have 4?
6.
6. Okay.
So what's your lifetime high run?
In practice, 11. In a match play, 8. Probably shouldn't admit that in public, but after playing for 20 years, but
We all can't be Bloomdahl or Kudron.
no. Fortunately, my 8 was against Paul Frankel. I ran 8 and out on him. So is the tournament running pretty much on schedule? It seemed to be yesterday. I think it ended when it was supposed to.
Yeah, yesterday I think we had 2 matches. It maybe went a little longer than expected. But that isn't bad at all. I mean, I know you've ran tournaments. I think we're a little behind in the morning, but not too bad. Not too bad.
So Mike's on to run a 3 here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Another short angle. Didn't get back. You have to remember I can see over here. When the players stand in the way, I can see over here. I forgot. Well, Mike's looking at the short angle or around the table. Both good options, 3 rails. The short angle might have 2-way opportunity. And that's what he's trying. Well, maybe not. Yeah, that's what he did. All right. Now making a layer out of me, he makes another short angle.
You're all right. He's very accurate on the short angle shots.
Did you see Dan Kolash and Brian Half earlier on table 6?
I did not know.
It's just Dan is when he's playing, he's spectacular. He had 20 points in 13 innings. So. Very nice shot. A little bit too short. Both players are averaging just a tad over .5 per inning. Tied at 6 and 11 innings. I understand these tables may all have been sold already.
That's my first time hearing that.
Okay, I thought that one of the gentlemen here was going to be transporting like 2 to Louisiana or Texas or something like that, and 3 somewhere else.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me. I know that they usually do sell at least 2 of them, I think, every time we have a tournament.
I thought we might get 3 or all 6 of them in Madison at one time, but that didn't work out. And Mike just made another short angle.
The Gabriel's tables are beautiful tables.
Mm-hmm. That they are. But you have to be dedicated. They are, a little pricier than some of the other tables. Wow. I didn't expect that from Mike, but it was a very good try.
So correct me if I'm wrong. He's gonna go long, short, long.
He's going to try to come up behind the white, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Right through the hole.
He was very close, but just missed. Pro shot.
Very
Pro
nice
shot.
try.
Excellent try. From Fred Lammers. Right. Read them all.
Scott Hewitt, Scott Lessman, table 4. Scott Hewitt, Scott Lessman, table 4.
So here's my lack of or experience or lack of. The only shots I know are where the two balls are next to each other.
Are you talking like straight rail or three cushion?
3 cushion. Like when the other two balls, not your cue ball, are near each other.
And then you lag?
No.
Okay.
No, like on the table. So let's say I'm the white ball.
Okay.
And the yellow and the red are near each other.
Okay.
Those are the shots I know.
Well, got to start somewhere. Wow. Hit that in is very difficult, and he hit it too good. nice shot. Very nice shot. Hard to control the cue ball like that. And still miss the kiss. So what do you think the average age is of the competition here?
I'd say the average would be about 50. If I were to look at the span of older to younger, I'd say 50 is the average.
Really?
Because I think there's some significantly older gentlemen, and then there are some.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tung is 29 years old.
Who?
Tung Nguyen,
Okay.
and he's probably the youngest one here.
Probably.
So if I were to guess an average, 50. What would you say?
It could be. It could be. I would think it's a little bit older. I do have to mention, though, Bob Keller, who's in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
He's 91 years old.
Wow.
And he's the one that's going to be responsible for the Madison tournament if it happens, or Madison Club if it happens. And I ran across an article somewhere where he won a tournament in 1950 with a 1.1 average when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
So, the guy loves the game, and he's willing to do whatever he can to help it along. So
That's awesome.
mm-hmm. This is quite a shot by Mike. I think he's got it. Excellent. Excellent shot.
He's a creative player.
Mm-hmm. It was hard to hit it that hard and sneak into that corner and yet come long enough to hit the end rail on the other side. In response to the average age.
102.
That's Fred.
I think there's quite a few men here who are in their 30s and 40s, and then I think you have an age group of men probably in their 60s through 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm getting the 50.
Okay. I think there's a lot of guys older than 70 though. But
Maybe I'm just being kind.
either that or the 30-year-olds have had a hard life. It's actually a game that it's hard to pick up when you're young, because you really have to develop cue skills, bridging skills, and just the English and some of those things. And until you understand that, trying to come into this game where you have to implement so many of those things, sometimes drastically, sometimes gently.
I hear what you're saying, but you go to somewhere like Korea where they have billiard academies, and they're developing their players at such a young age that by the time they reach their 20s, They're already playing in world championships.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I guess I was referencing more of the American billiard scene.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Nice shot. It's now 9-8 in 18 innings in favor of Mr. Evans. Is there a, there's no camera shot on the score, is there?
We do have one, actually.
Okay.
That's Chuck, who just sat down. And you see Jim Showback, who's our tournament director, hard at work.
Okay.
So do you watch a lot of billiards when you're at home?
You know, I should. Just before I go to a tournament, I try to watch some of the better players on YouTube or whatever for a little bit. But it I do work from home, so I spend a lot of time there, and then it's just kind of hard to commit the time to watching 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I know. I get frustrated.
Pardon?
I get frustrated, and I always say that work gets in the way with my life.
It does.
Because I'll set my alarm. A lot of the tournaments, the world tournaments, the international tournaments, happen in the wee hours of the morning and the evening. So I'll set my alarm if there's a specific match that I want to catch live. So it could be 3 in the morning and my alarm's going off, and
Ouch.
just to watch the match that I want to watch.
Well, I used to be in the tavern business, so I went to bed at 3 in the morning, but now now it doesn't work so well.
But occasionally the tournaments will go on through like 8 or 9 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and I'm able to catch a match in the morning while I'm at the office, like on the side view. And then, I'll go back in the Kazoom archives and get to watch some of those.
Those are nice, and that for the money, that is a great billiard resource.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even if there's not another billiard tournament for 5 years, there's a video archive that you can watch from Kazoom.
Right. What I do have a workout room in the basement that I do visit on occasion, but not frequently by any stretch of the imagination. But I've got it set up with the TV, and when first time I was in New York City, I bought a DVD for $10, and it's all in Spanish, so I don't know what they're saying, but it illustrates 150 shots, billiard shots. In the first round, they show the shot, and they come back, and then they diagram it and give dialogue, which I don't know what they're saying, but I do know what the diagram shows, and it's very, very helpful. And I like to play that before tournaments because it gets your mind thinking about shots you forget about when you're practicing alone. And you can replay.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're having those, the world championships, from Korea to Egypt, and they're like week after week after week, it starts to wear on me where I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do this 3 a.m. anymore.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't like watching them because it makes me sick how good they play, and how can they do that and I can't? I'm human, they're human. What's the deal?
But I've really enjoyed in this last year. I don't know if you've caught any of it. The the 3cc survival masters, where it's like 4 players playing against each other, and it's like a ring game format. And I've really enjoyed watching the couple of tournaments they did with that.
No, it's the first I've heard of that. It's really an interesting shot by Mike. Wow, excellent. Got a lot closer than I thought he could get there. Score is now 9-8, Mr. Evans in 21 innings. I'm not sure what kind of cue that Mr. Evans is playing with. Mike Miller is playing with a Schuler with a Kamui tip. Mike's only been playing for 5 years, according to his bio. He must make a great impression because I thought I've known him longer than that. Had long, it snuck off a little skinny off the first object ball. But he left Mr. Evans tough. I'm guessing he's going to hit it hard into the long rail. Problem with that is that any follow at all will bring you short, as was illustrated there. Excellent hit on that. You have to hit it soft, yet you have to hit it hard.
Where does he go from here, though?
I'm guessing he's going to try to Z down the table. Long rail, long rail, long rail, and hope he hits somewhere either on the short rail or the third long rail. The red ball should miss the yellow ball unless he cuts it too much. I thought he was going to grab more of the red ball and not have it drift down into the corner while the cue ball. Worked its way around the table. Should be an interesting shot here. A lot of ways to make it, a lot of ways to miss it. Going to the short rail and try to hook two rails and back into it. And that worked.
Wow. That's pretty.
Might still get it.
Stopped him in his tracks.
Almost had a scratch shot. Another short angle for Mike, so might as well score this one up already, right? And there's the score. It's kind of a brain teaser here from Mike. I think he'll probably draw it off the red ball and try to go long rail, short rail into the yellow, but apparently he sees something else. Maybe not. Danger here could be the red ball. Oh, he's not drawing it, so he's doing something else. Excellent. He could follow that because the ball was, balls were lined up directly on the trajectory that the white ball needed to go. So if you hit it straight and enough speed, you score. It's one of those shots I never see. The danger in it is that when you follow, you hit, follow your cue ball into the red ball, that tends to go in the same line as you're aiming, so you tend to knock the object ball out of the way frequently. The point ball. I think it's a favorable leave for Mr. Evans, but it's not a gimme. 11-11 in 25 innings. Too good. Direct into the corner. Rails. Yellow ball is causing problems. A little lucky, but Mike will take it. Mr. Evans will lament it. I believe he's going to try to go long rail, and walk the cue ball down the table. He may have enough of an angle to come to the short rail first and double it, but I'm not sure. There you go. Didn't walk it down far enough. This will be 3 to 4 rails around the table. Should be a very makeable shot. A little too full on the hit. So I know last year Dennis Diekman did a lot of commentary for you, but unfortunately he passed away. I'm sure you miss Dennis.
He was too ill to make it for the Nationals because originally he was slated to come and do some commentary during the Nationals last year. But by that time, I think he was too ill. So he was an interesting fellow.
He was all of that. It's one of those people that you're happy to know. That was a nice shot by Mike, by the way. And he's got a challenging but makeable shot here. Dennis was a great supporter of the Rush Roll tournaments too. For the last 4 tournaments, he would donate $500, not to the prize fund, but to have something happen that was to the benefit of all of the players. So we would, what we ended up doing is having the players all come, and however many players there were, divide the 500 by that much, and then we go to the local Moose Lodge. Nice shot, Mike, short angle, and they would get that amount off of their meal, but we would all go at the same time and commiserate and get to know each other a little bit better and all of that. So he was an interesting guy with a big heart, and again, loved the game. I actually played with one of his cues. he thought he was going to pass away several years ago, so he made me the last cue that he was ever going to make then, but then he didn't pass away, so so my collector's value was diminished somewhat. But it's an excellent cue. I believe this will run a 3 for Mike if he makes it. No, he just snuck by. But excellent lead. I thought he had 2. Okay. Mike Miller surges into the lead, 14-11 in 27 innings. And leaves Mr. Evans a very difficult shot. Kissed out.
So who's your favorite player, past or present?
I guess I've always been mesmerized by George Ashby. He's a many-time national champion in the old days. He's only 64 years old. He does things that you don't see anybody else do, and he's a great student of the game. He must have a great mathematical mind and excellent execution. If you get some of the old pool and billiard magazines or whatever from 70s, maybe late 60s, 70s, and 80s, you'll see article after article after article about how he's won. I got to know him very well. He was actually he was the reason the Rushville tournaments happened, is because he lived down there, and basically they were the George Ashby tournaments. But always a joy to watch, always to be feared. He has his own business, so he seldom gets to go to tournaments much anymore. So, but I presume you haven't seen him play. You've never been to New York, right? And you've never been to Rushville. So,
No.
No, I'm sure you haven't. He hasn't been to west of the Mississippi in quite a while, I don't believe. Score is 14-12 in 28 innings in favor of Mr. Miller. Who's your favorite player?
Sungwon Choi out of Korea.
Okay.
A very methodical player, thinks everything through. I enjoy watching him play.
I'm not sure I've had the pleasure.
I watch a lot of Kazum. And Billiards TV as well, which is a Korean-based streamer.
I think I get videos from them once in a while. I don't know if it's YouTube or whatever. Every now and then one pops up. But
Yeah.
Again, I just don't have the luxury of time to watch much of that, so. Very challenging shot. I'm guessing he's going to go long rail first and then try to catch 2 rails short off of the long rail, short rail. Maybe he'll back up into it. No. Little too thin on this hit. He left Michael out of nothing. I think Mike is going to try to suck the cue ball over to the left-hand long rail and then come up short with a ton of English and a lot of draw. I didn't think he could hit the yellow. I thought sure he was shooting it off the red. Last year were the matches at 20 points or 25 points? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I was asked that yesterday as well.
Nice dainty shot by Mike Miller. Obviously, might as well give him 2 points because he has another short angle here. I think he will select. No, Mike. That's the first short angle he's missed, I believe, isn't it? See Ray Raskins in a tight match with Bernie Pettipiece over on table 2.
I think Bernie Pettipiece is probably one of the most improved players that I've seen here over the past 3 years.
I don't, I remember his face, but I don't recall that I watched much of his play in the past, but I kind of caught my eye
This time
earlier.
around.
Yeah. I think Ray is on a run of 4. He might be getting out here. Nice shot by Mr. Evans. Is that a run of 3 for Mr. Evans?
Chuck woke up, huh?
Pardon?
Chuck woke up.
I guess so. He's on at least 4. I'm not sure, which would give him 16 in the lead.
Table 3, Dan Louie and Bob Keller, table 3.
Was a run of 5 by Mr. Evans. Gives him the lead 17 to 15 in 31 innings.
Raffles at the desk.
So we've got a real dogfight on our hands here, folks. Mr. Miller misses a makeable but difficult shot. Two-way shot, fails both ways. Mr. Miller, Mike Miller should really like this lead. High percentage shot from Mike.
And what's the shot here?
Should be off the right-hand side of the red. 3 rails, either directly into the yellow or presumably short, but it could come in long and still make. Short misses the kiss, at least on the way. Missed the first kiss, not the second kiss. So. I think we're seeing a short rail here by Mr. Evans. And he executes it well. Comes up just a little bit too short.
So you do any gambling here?
No.
No, not a gambler.
Not a gambler. Back when I was too young to go into the bars, but went anyhow. I live in a college town, and some college guys got me into a poker game, and I was 16 years old, and I lost $125, and that was the end of my gambling career. So. Other than a few bucks on a pool table from time to time. Nice shot, Mike. Walks that down the table. It's close to back in the game. 16-17. Mr. Miller was 16 at the moment and still at the table.
It was the last time we were here. No, it was last January. Somehow, some way, I dropped $100, $100 bill. I was a little tipsy, be honest. And so upset the next day. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna play this $20 in the slots. I made up my 100 and the 20, so I came away even.
Okay, and very, very happy, and still are.
Yeah, I am actually.
Mike. I think Mike was playing more safety than point on that one, but it was a difficult shot and a good shot selection. It's hard to lose 100.
Just to drop it. And I'm very cautious about stuff like that. I can't believe I did it.
The only thing worse than that is getting like a traffic ticket or something like that. It's like, I hate paying that, although I haven't had one in probably 40 years, so 30 years, maybe 30 years.
Good driver discount. I'm happy to be living
Great shot. This is a great shot. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm not sure it's going to score, but it's going to be close. I'm sorry?
I'm happy to be living 5 minutes from my office, so I can side street it all the way there, never see cops. So my percentage of getting a ticket is pretty low right now.
I'm a very safe driver, but my wife would think that I'm Evel Knievel or something like that, to listen to her. But in her defense, she was in a couple nasty accidents, and so she's a little jumpy. This should be a nice shot for Mike. Not sure why the long bridge, but huh. I think Mr. Evans, he may go around the table, but I think he's just going to go long rail, and try to drop it in. Well, he's going around the table, I think. Can't really see well. He's not doing anything.
Missed the red to begin with.
Other than that, it was very well executed. So.
It's always tough when you're stretched over the table, too.
And you're over 40. I'm impressed how both the Paul Feldmans, how well they both play. Great shot, Mike. That's a rarely seen kiss back shot around the table. Ties the game at 17-17 with Mike Miller still at the table. I think Mike's trying to go long rail, short rail, kiss off the red, and bounce over towards the yellow, but he hit a little too full. Got a real nail biter going here, folks. 17-17 in 36 innings. Tough shot, good safe leave. You'd asked earlier Mike Miller's average. I'm seeing on the sheet here that he's declaring himself to be .55. So I stand corrected a tad. Thin hit, missed. I don't know if it's going to hit the come in short enough or not. Just made it. Excellent shot. Should put Mike Miller on the hill, 19-17, with Mike still at the table on a run of 2. Should be a very makeable 5 rail or more. 5, 6, or 7.
Really?
What do you predict? 5, 6, or 7?
Wow.
I'm going to predict 6.
6.
2, 4, 5, 6. Mike Miller wins the match 20-17 in 36 innings.
Better than his average.
Better than his average.
Thank you, Gary, for joining us in
Sure.
commentary today.
It's fun. It's always fun. Maybe I'll get a chance to do it again later. So.
You're always welcome.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody else, for joining us and watching the USBA 3-Cushion Amateur Championship here at the Casino del Sol. And don't go away. We should have another match within 5 minutes.